You're listening to Where You Live with Gene and Tony.
This is Where You Live with Gene and Tony. We're broadcasting from the Natural Green Lawn and Landscape Studios. We're brought to you by Extreme Exteriors and American Family Insurance, the Kim Bennett Agency. As an American Family Insurance agent, Kim believes that there's much more to insurance than the policy alone. It's about providing you with dependable protection and services. Kim believes that trust and credibility can't be demanded. It can only be earned by what you say and what you do. Call Kim at 651-482-1598 and tell her Gene and Tony sent you. It's time now for a message from the Minnesota Multi-Housing Association. The MHA Minute is brought to you by Start to Finish Maintenance Contractors. Start to Finish provides 24-hour service for all of your home and business maintenance needs. Call Start to Finish at 952-259-1219 for your home, for your business, for your peace of mind.
Did you know that the top reason renters do not renew their leases is not because of rent increases? The biggest complaint among renters and the most important gauge of renter satisfaction is how the management responds to maintenance requests. Responding to maintenance calls quickly and effectively makes for happy residents. Happy residents make for reduced turnover. Reduced turnover makes for better cash flow. That's just one of the hundreds, thousands of things you can learn from the Minnesota Multi-Housing Association, the best, most comprehensive resource in the state for owners of everything from a duplex to hundreds of units, and for townhome and condo associations as well. MHA holds 135 different classes each year for owners and on-site staff, including in-depth certification courses for maintenance and management professionals. In fact, the most widely recognized certifications for apartment industry professionals across the United States were designed right here in Minnesota by MHA. Find out more by visiting mmha.com. That's two M's, mmha.com.
So, Gene, what's next?
Well, before we get to our last story, I just would like to say, because I threw it out there towards the end, I really would love to hear from our listeners over this next week about this issue. Do you think it would be a good idea to ask that the lenders or mortgage companies escrow your association dues as well? Let us know what you think. Again, the number, Tony, that they can call. Our
hotline number is 952-224-2668. Just so you're prepared, you leave a message on that number, and we'll discuss it on the air.
Or go to our website, www.newconceptsgroup.com. Go to the radio show page, and our email addresses are there, and you can write them. Oh, I'd love to hear from folks.
Me too.
Well, we've got one thing we want to report here in the last part of the show here that I think will be good news. About almost a year ago, we talked about the United States government. The EPA was...
Department of Energy.
Yes, Department of Energy, yes, was saying we want to start requiring that all homes in 39-state area in the northern sections of the United States would be required to, when their furnaces go out, to having a high-efficiency furnace installed. And that high-efficiency furnace, there's a bit of a more cost involved to that.
So originally that was going to start May 1st this year, was it not?
Of 2013.
After May 1st in Minnesota, if you were going to replace your furnace, you were required to replace it with a high-efficiency furnace.
And the issues or concerns were that because of this high-efficiency furnace, there had to be a lot more retrofitting to the home. And this is an issue, especially if you're in an association, because now you have to start drilling additional holes out of the side of the
high-efficiency furnaces, have to be vented out the side. They can't be... Or can they be vented through the roof?
Vented through the roof, yes.
Or through this chimney? Okay.
Yes, because you need a larger area that's going to take in air, because this higher efficiency needs it just to run. Where these were put in initially without that, it was found that they robbed necessary oxygen in homes.
So the cost of installing these is quite a bit greater than, but the goal... The stated goal was to save energy.
To save energy,
right?
Again, a noble cause, a noble goal. But you need to ask yourself: was this going to really be effective in doing so?
Or what were the unintended consequences of this noble idea?
Exactly. Well, what happened, we've heard from people throughout the year.
Yeah.
At CAI, I'm on the Legislative Action Committee. I'm the chair of that committee this year. And I've heard from constituents, too, who've said, hey, can you guys help in lobbying to try and get this changed? Well, about the time that we started getting more and more requests and getting people contacting about us, lo and behold, the American Public Gas Association ended up in taking the Department of Energy to court and went to the U.S. Appeals Court in the District of Columbia and asked them to rethink this requirement that would have been mandated as of May 1st, 2013.
They asked the court to vacate the rule and restart the process of establishing these standards.
Yes. So what they're saying is, hey, we like the idea that there's going to be standards, but we think you're doing it too quickly, and there's, like you said, unintended consequences.
Right.
And what were some of those unintended consequences?
Well, not surprisingly, the American Public Gas Association made the argument that because of the increased cost of installing this type of furnace, and that increased cost comes from the increased venting necessary, that would drive some customers to using less efficient forms of energy to heat their homes. For example, if they couldn't afford to put in a new gas-fueled furnace, they would start switching to electric heat.
Electric baseboard heat is a
which
possibility.
It's easy to install, it's cheap to install, but it's not very efficient, and it's very costly to run, correct?
Well, it is. It is. I don't know. Is it less? Is it a lot less efficient in terms of heating, do you think?
I don't know about efficiency. It costs a lot more to run it.
Well, it costs more on electricity.
That's what I mean.
But you're not using gas, so I don't know. Is it 6 of one, half a dozen or another in terms of cost?
I
because
think that
if you're not using the gas,
I'm talking about the heating portion only.
Yeah.
Typically, electric heat costs more than gas heat. That's my experience. I'm not talking about other electric use in your home. I'm talking about just the heating part.
Okay.
All right. I think you're not spending money on the gas, but you're spending proportionately more money on the electric heat.
Okay, so you think there is more of a cost there?
I do.
Okay.
Well, unless that has changed, but always the rule of thumb has been it's cheaper to install electric equipment for heat, but more expensive to operate it.
Okay.
It's more expensive to install a gas furnace, but more efficient and cheaper to operate it.
Okay.
So anyway, the American Public Gas Association said, hey, people are going to use less efficient means. They also mentioned kerosene. Some people are going to turn to heating with kerosene because they can't afford
and I've seen
install
that
a
over the last few
furnace.
Years, or a number of years ago. I remember that there were companies that do offer portable kerosene heaters.
Okay.
So
these
are
like a space heater kind of?
Yeah, it looks like a space heater,
Okay.
and so kerosene can be put in. And I knew some friends who did that because they thought they would be saving on gas and electricity, and they did.
Okay.
However, when you use kerosene, it ends up putting off as, I guess, the final element, H2O in the in the
air.
In the air.
Okay.
And so you end up having windows that end up getting iced up. And they noticed, these friends of ours who did that a few years ago ended up having some mold created in their homes because they were really
so you spend more on
uptight.
Dehumidifying your home. So what the American Public Gas Association was saying, here's the unintended consequences. You're going to have you're not going to reduce greenhouse gas emissions. You're going to increase them, and you're not going to necessarily be efficient in the use of energy.
So they're saying, hey, maybe you were a little bit too quick on the draw here.
Well, it sounds like the Department of Energy was quick on the draw.
Here is the thing. It says energy efficiency advocates were upset because of what they considered this to be a huge setback for efforts to pare energy use and reduce greenhouse gas emissions. I find this incredulous.
Yeah.
I mean, if
you are incredulous.
If you are an advocate for wanting to save on energy and greenhouse
and
gas emissions,
gases,
and you realize that if people are driven to electric and are using coal, there's not going to be any less reduction.
Yeah. You're not going to
of-
reach those goals you say are your goals.
Yes.
Yeah.
But they're more upset about losing
I think, yeah.
than and not being able to chalk up a win.
Yeah.
But they haven't really answered the question, were we effective?
That's right. That's right. They also said in the article that this actually was a variation of the process the Department of Energy usually uses. It was fast-tracked, this whole
Yes, that's right.
requirement. To me, that's always a bad sign. You know what? Some things are meant to be deliberated over, aren't they, Gene?
Yes, they
are
are.
meant to be considered carefully before they're put into effect.
Yes. And, I don't like hearing from a politician who says, well, we were anxious to pass it so we could see what this thing would do.
Oh.
I mean that's the idea behind it. Well, hey, it sounds like good news for a while. You won't have to get that high efficiency furnace right now, but it looks like it's going to continue to be
a discussion. isn't it? Yeah.
Well, we don't have any more time for a discussion. That's all the time we have for today's show. Thanks for joining us. Have a great rest of the weekend, everybody. We'll see you here next Saturday on Where You Live.
How sweet it is to be loved by you.